Now, a big change, perhaps the biggest change that FDA made between the proposed rule and the final rule is while they're phasing out general enforcement discretion, they are maintaining certain categories of enforcement discretion on a category by category basis. And there's different levels, different amounts of enforcement discretion that FDA is applying depending on the category. So 1976 type LDTs are those that use manual techniques. They're not automated. They use legally marketed components, and they're performed within a single CLIA high complexity lab. So, for example, manual immunohistochemical and lateral flow tests. Then there is certain things that are done in conjunction with transplantation. Tests performed within the Veteran Health Administration or DoD. For our purposes, the key ones are LDTs approved by New York State's Clinical Laboratory Evaluation Program, which already reviews LDTs for those labs that want to offer their LDTs to residents of the state of New York. But that will not be an exemption, enforcement discretion from all requirements, even with New York State authorization approval for the test, they will still be required to comply with the quality system. And they, like several other of these categories, will be required to submit their labeling to FDA so FDA can see the types of claims that are being made for the product. Moving on, LDTs for unmet needs used in an integrated healthcare system. So that's a healthcare system that develops an LDT to meet the unmet needs of its patient population will be exempt, subject to enforcement discretion for pre-market review, but not for the other requirements. And then finally, currently marketed LDTs, meaning those that were marketed prior to May 6, 2024, will not have to submit pre-market submissions, but they will be subject to the other requirements, including to submit labeling for FDA review, as long as they don't make any significant changes to their product. So if they, for example, change indications for use, change the technology, or make other types of change to the test, then they will lose that enforcement discretion. So just a word about enforcement discretion. It is not a carve-out. It is not an exemption. And FDA says this several times in the final rule. Enforcement discretion means, from FDA's perspective, a device is illegal. It's in violation of the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, but FDA is choosing, for the moment, not to exercise its authorities and not to prosecute the violator. But FDA can change its mind without prior notice if FDA has a concern about a specific LDT. So with that, and then important last note about the anatomy of the rule. Certain things that were asked for by many commenters were not included. There was no enforcement discretion for academic medical centers or for small labs, but FDA said that its limited enforcement discretion policies would in practice cover many of those groups.